in the palm of my hand. Bad little flex, wanna play by the coast. Carry the torch, I'm way up, it's litty wherever we float. I came from the cold, used to rest on the floor. I stitch up my wounds, was born a soldier. Flipping the struggle, I'm taking it worldwide. Hold it down when you talk to me. Say it is what it's supposed to be. Say it loud, but I mean it too, yeah. Talk that good when you talk to me. Say it to me. Say it loud, but I mean it too, yeah. Talk that good when you talk to me. Say it nice and I give it to you. You know my way.
I am your host, Nadira Lewis, and I have here with me my co-host, Thomas Taylor, and his beautiful wife, Carolyn Taylor. And we have new to Dinner with the Coaches, Mr. Fabian Thorne, owner and CEO of the Built to Last brand. And Fabian, I'm assuming, will be with us shortly. It looks like Fabian walked away from his chair. But we are excited to be able to have you here with us today as we talk about the topic. And I'll let Thomas go ahead because Thomas is so good at introducing us in our topic today. So I'm excited to get in today's topic. Thomas, our favorite co-host.
Yes. Hey.
You want to go ahead and take us into the topic?
Good evening. First, I want to welcome everybody for joining in. Hey, Fabian, you doing okay over there?
I'm back.
Hey, you must be a die-hard Cowboy fan.
No, I got the screen on. I'm good over there.
I already know. Hey, but again, welcome.
It's been a long time.
I know. We're all excited. I understand. Well, Nadira told me a lot about you. So tonight, what we're going to talk about is understanding your significance, right? So I did a Facebook Live earlier, similar to the topic, and talking about our self-worth relative to business and personal, right? So I know you've done a lot of different things. You probably overcame some adversities. So what do you think is the key for yourself in terms of understanding your own?
I'm having a tough time hearing on my end.
Okay. Did you hear any of that?
I don't think he did. I think he's having a hard time with it looks like he's refreshing. It might be his signal. It might be his signal coming up.
All right. We're gonna keep moving. How about yourself, Carolyn? Anything you kind of wanna add to just understanding your level of significance? Hold on. We might get Fabian back. Can you hear us, Fabian?
Hold on.
Okay, we got him.
He's working it out.
Yeah.
We can hear you, Fabian.
All right. Okay, you can hear me?
Yeah, we got you. So,
okay, I was experiencing audio problem, even though a fight went on the TV, but I ain't worried about the fight.
Stay focused. Stay focused, my brother. Stay focused.
I can't hear your audio, and I just tried to put you in my ear to make sure that I could hear you. Can you hear me now?
Yeah, we can hear you. Can you hear us?
When I hear you, I get a echo.
Okay.
Now let somebody else talk.
Okay, what about me? Can you hear me?
Loud and clear.
Okay.
Can you hear me?
Loud and clear.
You, Thomas.
Maybe he
can't hear those. Maybe he's saying he can't hear you because maybe he's afraid you represent.
See, and then when Thomas go, it's like I can't. It's choppy. But you two, I can hear clear. Now is that me or is that Thomas?
I don't know. I'm gonna take off the headphone. Can you hear me now?
Yeah, it might be the headphones.
Can you hear me now? Can you hear me now?
I can hear you. It's a little bit better, but I just want to make sure I hear it clearly.
Okay. I could go either way.
That's better. There we go, Thomas. Okay.
Is that better?
The life of an entrepreneur, right?
Hold up, brother. I think what it is that we have to give each person that pause to be able to speak so that it comes out clearly. I think that's what it is.
Yeah, it's slow on my side, but I can manage though. You guys can hear me okay?
Yes. Yes, absolutely.
Fabian, you can hear me? What, Nadira, why don't you ask him the question?
Okay. So, Fabian, can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay. So we are today's topic. We are discussing the understanding your significance, and which is the secrets to success. So I know from knowing you basically all my life that you've had some challenges that you have accrued over your life, and you've written a book about it to tell your story about what happened. So why don't you share with us because I know you understand this topic very well. So why don't you give us a background about who you are and how did you start the Build to Last brand? Because you not only written a book, you have started your own company where you actually your book is You Don't Wake Up Strong, and then you have your own alkaline water. So why don't you go ahead and talk to us about what it took for you to find out your significance and how you overcame some of the things that you've gone through.
Okay. When it came to the brand Built to Last, it's a blueprint to enhance the mind, body, and soul through physical fitness, nutritional guidance, and motivational speaking. Built to Last goes back to college.
Yeah, can you guys hear me okay?
Yeah, we can hear you good. I think it's Fabian's connection. It could be his connection, which seems like there has been okay, looks like he's coming back. There you go. Okay.
We got you, Fabian.
I'm back. I got kicked out.
Okay.
I'm back.
Okay.
Can y'all hear me?
Yes.
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 It's bad connection on my end. I need to get up. Nadira, can you hear me?
Yes. Yes. I can hear you. If you're
Thomas, you can hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you.
We can hear you.
Okay. I must be clear to y'all. Okay. So the Built to Last brand began back in college, and the basis of it is truly my life story. When I was 2 years old, I lost my left eye to a cancerous tumor.
And as we're waiting for Fabian to return, Fabian looks like he's back again. Okay.
Do me a favor. I'm going to take this off the phone and go and put it on my laptop. I can't deal with this.
Okay.
I don't like being, this is driving me crazy.
We understand.
And I'm a very patient person.
Until you're tested.
Yeah.
Nadira. Yeah, I'm a very patient man. I just, I'm trying to think. So I need the link.
Okay, I'll send it to you again.
Stay right there.
I'll send it to you through Messenger, and
send it to you got my cell phone?
Hold on.
No, you send it to me in messages. It's on this phone.
Okay, so send it to your phone.
Yeah, send it to my cell phone.
Okay, let's see. So while we're working on that, Thomas, you want to go ahead and
yeah, we can talk about it.
Okay.
Carol and I can share with the world our conversations.
Okay. Carolyn is over there smiling like.
So understanding your significance that has multiple dimensions, right? From a business standpoint, really being in a position to understand your worth and your value. From a personal standpoint, it can also attribute to in relationships, right? Because in relationships, understanding your significance is important because sometimes what happens is if you don't understand your value, your worth in any relationship, in a business relationship, personal relationship, marriage relationship, then you kind of find yourself taking on either the characteristics or different things of the individual that either you're in business with or you're in a relationship with, right? And then sometimes when you get further down the road, you good, Fabian. We can hear you. Hey, we have Mr. Sean Rais on. We're just talking about significance. Good evening, my brother.
Good evening. Good evening. Can you hear me?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. We wait for Nadira to come back, and Fabian's having some challenges, as you know, audio, video.
Okay.
Yeah. So
we just talk. How's this on this end? Is this okay?
Yeah, you're good.
Okay.
Yeah.
Good evening, Carolyn.
Good evening. How are you?
That is the better half. Oh, that is the wife. That is
I'm about to say, Taylor, is there a relation?
35 years of better half. Carolyn, this is Mr. Sean Rais. Sean.
Good evening.
This is the other better half.
Yes.
I am humbled.
Thank you.
Yes, ma'am. Okay.
My apologies.
That's all right. It's a family affair.
Hey.
We had music cat. It's a family affair.
and she from the Bronx, coach. She from the Bronx, so you already know.
Okay. So that's the remix.
Yeah.
the remix. Okay. Yes, ma'am.
Yeah. We just talking about understanding your significance in business as well as in relationships. And I was just saying sometimes when you don't really understand your own value, significance, self-worth in a business and a relationship, you tend to take on the characteristics of your partner, business partner, and or spouse, and then you can be in a position where you're down the road and then all of a sudden you're kind of not too excited about the road that you're actually traveling on because you didn't really understand your stance, your value, as well as your significance. So
okay.
Mm-hmm.
Well, we can definitely speak to the significance of the significant other in business.
Yes.
Right? Because honestly, I don't know a 7, 8, 9-figure earner that isn't married. I don't know one of them.
Wow.
Not one, and I know a few, more than one hand, but I don't know.
Well, I guess I better hurry up by the time I get the
Yes,
ma'am. I do play. I am not excluded in that group.
So
I understand my significance.
That's right. Let me say something else too about, and I know you know this too, military, government, federal government. You can't hold a high office without being married as a man.
Presidency as well.
Man, you can't be promoted to a certain level of leadership without having a significant other. So that shows you how systems bear witness to the importance. It's balance.
It's balance.
It's balance. And it checks concentration. It checks concentration and steadfastness, because if you're not secure in that space, your eyes and your mind is going to wander. Your discipline might wander. They're very serious about that. In military, religion, and politics.
Yeah, that's interesting. That's interesting. Yeah, that's a good perspective. So Fabian, you were telling a bit of your story. This is Mr. Sean Rais. He's our business coach, our life coach.
How you doing, Fabian? How you doing, brother?
All right, and you? Can y'all hear me?
Yep, we got you.
Absolutely phenomenal. No complaints whatsoever.
Okay.
Can you hear me? I know you had a little bit of an issue before. Can you hear me?
Yeah, you got to get off them phones sometime and get on the laptop. I'm
Oh
good.
yeah, definitely. Big bandwidth.
So go ahead, Fabian. Tell us a little bit about your story. You're saying you lost your eye. You lost your eye when you was 2. It's an echo, Nadira. Who's that?
Yeah, I
That's
lost my
Nadira.
left.
Okay. Go ahead, Fabian.
Yeah, I lost my left eye when I was 2 years old to a cancerous tumor. Um, Mom's was married, single, but Mom's was married but single, raising 3 kids.
Mm.
Um, one day she took a look at me. Well, at the age of 2, I was walking around bumping into the walls on the left side. And then one day she sat me on the bed and she looked into my eyes and she could see right through my pupil. And so she rushed me to the hospital. They start right away, sent me in surgery to remove the tumor because it was moving towards the brain. So once they removed the tumor, you're talking about 1975. It wasn't a whole lot about saving the eye. It was to get rid of the tumor from around the eye. So they had to remove the eye. That happened in Richmond, Virginia Children's Hospital. And then my mom's removed in New Jersey when I was 4. Football was in my blood early. And I say that because at the age of 6, I was watching football on TV. And in the beginning part of my book about the beginning part of my journey, in school, when I was coming up, it wasn't called bullying. It was, kids are picking with you. And one day I was just so frustrated. Always been good in my school work, but I was frustrated with the kids. And I removed the eye and I just started chasing the kids around the playground.
With one
So I
eye?
got pulled into the office. Yeah. The principal got me in the office. I'll never forget his name, Mr. Scales. I know that there know Mr. Scales at Kentop. And he said, son, we can't have that. That's not the behavior we're going to have here. But right across in the playground, right across the fence, I used to watch this football team play, practice, and I'm watching them just hitting each other. And I got excited. I was like, I need that. That's what I need. Because I was frustrated. Why me? Well, fast forward, I wound up going over that fence. Mom's took me when I was 6. I was too young. Came back when I was 7. She took me to 5 different doctors in one day. First 4 doctors said no. Wouldn't sign the permission slip. The 5th doctor signed the permission slip. And I never looked back. The game of football has brought me out of a shell, has taught me resolve, how to fight through adversity, uh, any obstacle, uh, with the basis of God. My mom was a God fearing woman, and she, took me to church, and I learned a relationship, to have a relationship, my own relationship with God. But through the process of football, I realized that I was a superhero. I had superpowers, and I mean that in every sense of the word. There was no way I saw the field the way I saw the field by myself. Um, I graduated from Delaware State, business administration, minor management. But I had back-to-back 1,000-yard seasons, 25 touchdowns, 5.7 yards per carry, and got an offer from the Baltimore Ravens for a minicamp contract by what they saw. But they pulled the contract off the table when they got my medical history. Now,
Wow.
within 15 minutes of that contract getting pulled, the crazy part about it was my friends around me was wondering why I wasn't upset. And I turned to them and I said, they called me. They called me. They came and got me because of what they saw I've done on the field and what they saw on paper. Obviously, what you saw me do, perform the game, you thought I was worthy. You just wasn't willing to take that risk. So, long story short, I took my show overseas and went over in Germany, played professional ball, led the league in rushing and touchdowns. But while I was over there, I learned a lot about health, where you walk into a supermarket and you see meat on the shelf that only stay on the shelf for 2 days. So I asked, why is the meat only on the shelf for 2 days? Well, we don't pump anything into our meats. We don't spray no pesticides on our fruits and vegetables. Everybody is healthy. They live a healthier lifestyle. So I said, okay. So when I got back from Germany, when I launched the business, I said, okay, this is the portion of when I said the blueprint of Built to Last is enhancing the mind, body, and soul through physical fitness, nutritional guidance, and motivational speaking. Always wanted to tell my story because I always want to enhance someone else's life and let them know if I can do it with a disability, you can do it with or without one. And I learned so much about the health component because
Amen.
as we're going through today, that our bodies needs to be edified in three different ways. What we put in our bodies, as far as in food, what I exercise, and what we feed in our minds. And so that's why the pillars, that's why it's three components of Built to Last. And in those three components, each one has things that I add to it. So I wrote a book. The title of the book is You Just Don't Wake Up Strong because you don't. Trials and tribulations what make you strong. Adversity is what makes you strong. The things that you go through is what makes you strong, unless you succumb to it. So for me, a person tell me they haven't been through nothing, and you can't tell me you strong because you haven't been tested to understand what the measure of strength is. Our position is what creates strength.
Amen.
And so for me, I've been opposing. It's been opposition all my life, but it has made me who I am today, and I welcome it. Because at the end of the day, we don't know it all.
Mm-hmm.
We always are growing. We should always want to grow and evolve. Um, and so here we are. And so yeah, Built to Last is yeah. I'm a physical trainer. Um, I train athletes. I train everyday people. Uh, I do the motivational speaking in different school settings. And like I said, I have the book. And then the last component of the nutritional side, I launched my own alkaline water,
Mm.
B2L 29,
Okay.
9.5 pH level. The water's made from well water. Um, the B2L stands for Built to Last. The 29 stands for compassion, trustworthy, and teamwork. And 29 is my football number. So when I found out that's what it meant, it was the perfect setting for my bottle because that's what my brand is about. Trustworthy.
Wow. Did we lose him?
Yeah, it looks like it might have froze.
Well, Coach, when he come back, I see you chomping at the bits. Oh, I want you to go ahead and kind of. I like the whole branding thing. Can I elaborate on that?
Compassion and teamwork.
Okay, there you go.
Yeah,
Okay.
he still
We're
froze.
back. There we go. The enemy is a liar. That's all right.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's
Good.
the basis of everything,
Okay.
and I just try to educate my people on my journey and how far, and where we're going next.
Okay. Okay. That sounds good, brother. Have you thought about community? Are you building a community? Have you built a community?
Yes, in the sense of I work a lot off referrals and a lot of families, parents, kids that I have connected with, um, come from fathers that I've played ball with. They all have circled back to me to what I'm doing. Um, my church base, we have a greater harvest is called. your food pantry plus, so I do a lot of that with the ministry, um, and just continue to build in the brand, and try to reach the masses. I'm actually in a few schools. I'm in one of the schools in Brooklyn, New York. I got a syllabus. I teach the juniors and seniors how to put on a high school a football combine from A to Z. So we do 3 Zoom meetings, and then we actually put the combine on physically. And this year is October 28th at the High School of Sports Management in Brooklyn. Me and the principal's colleagues. We sat around the pool when we was in college. We said we wanted to do these certain things, and we're actually doing them. The book, uh, Think and Grow Rich by Dennis Kimbrough. I actually picked the phone up when I was in college and I called him, because I always wanted to write a book. And his advice was just write. He picked the phone up on the first call. He said, just write. And here today, I wrote my first book. So I'm excited about the people that that I do reach, and I'm out to build more of the marketing and advertising so that we can reach the masses. We can reach more communities. And I moved my water and my business up and down the East Coast. I'm not just in New Jersey. I take my water all the way to Georgia. I stop every state on the way. Colleagues, um, we're about to launch on Amazon. Um, so, just trying to tie it all in to reach more people than I could have expected.
Okay, that's the book. Nadira got the book up.
Same thing with the book. The book is on Amazon, um, and it's titled "You Just Don't Wake Up Strong." And we're trying to reach the masses with that. We're trying to get into a lot of schools and colleges, as far as in motivational speaking, and plus getting the book into their actual library and things of that nature. It's a wonderful read, and it goes to all walks of life. That's the beauty of it. It's not just for my community; it's for everybody, because we all, if we're gonna live on this earth, we're gonna have to go through something. Got to go through something to get somewhere. So talks
Yeah.
about the sacrifice and things of that nature.
All right. Well, it's a good night tonight, Fabian, because you have one of the leading individuals and a master of branding on the line with us tonight, Coach Mrs. Sean Raiz. So you definitely in a good place right here, Coach.
Well, I would say wake up strong Sundays. You know what I mean? Begin to do your regular call, like nationwide. Begin to do your regular call. Wake up strong Sundays, wake up strong Saturdays, and give it a time and a place where you're going to do this consistently. Make it a Zoom call so you can have people register for it. Take the email, begin to nurture the audience, bring everybody in, and just give value and tell your story. That's how people begin to recognize your brand. Your brand stays consistent. Anyone who wants to know about you, not just on the Eastern Seaboard, but all over the world, right? Because you can launch an international community just like that. Tell everybody who has heard of you, who hasn't heard of you, who wants to hear of you, who knows somebody who knows somebody to come see you on that broadcast that one time. And you got to choose where your ideal client is going to be, who your ideal client is, right? And have them all come see you. And that's the beginning of your community, brother. That's the beginning of your community. That's exactly what I did in the beginning of the pandemic. And brother, it changed the world for a lot of people. It changed the world for a lot of people. So when I tell you that the strategy works, it's not a suggestion. It's evidence-based. Multiple communities have been launched. Multiple brands have been launched in this similar fashion, right? So that's how you put your brand or put the world on notice about your brand, right? And then you also have somewhere to bring people to come to see you. And then you build the relationships, because right now revenue is from relationship. Relationship equals revenue. So you build the relationship consistently off of the email nurture system, where you're constantly in contact and you're constantly nurturing and you're constantly connecting. And then it goes from contact to connect to convert. And it doesn't take long. It just takes consistency, patience, discipline, which you seem to have a lot of, and consistency, right? And give value. Give value. What you're talking about, what I hear is resilience. That's what I hear is resilience, strength, endurance, overcoming challenges, mindset, stuff that everybody needs help with, right? Whether they're launching a business or trying to get through school or whatever the case may be. So there's a lot of generations that you can touch. There's a lot of different age groups that you can touch. What you have to do is you have to choose one, narrow down on that, because there's riches and niches. There's phenomenal riches and opportunity in niches. So choose one of the multiple different demographics that you can touch. Choose one and focus on that. Become successful through that. And from that, you can kind of grow your root and grow your tree. And then the limbs are the different offerings that you can add. You understand what I'm saying, brother? The book is phenomenal. The water is phenomenal. You can do coaching. You can do speaking. You can do all of those different things, but you want to become known for one, phenomenally known for one. And then that brand equity stretches into all of those different areas. I would say launch that tomorrow. Like next week. Like it's nothing to go to Zoom. It's nothing to have a Zoom account. You already got one. It's nothing to just branch off and create a recurring meeting every single week on a specific day at a specific time, and then put the word out and bring people in. And then if you need help after you connect, as far as the conversion, that's closing. That's the next piece.
Was you able to catch that, Fabian?
No. He's actually on the same page as what my we're actually at. And we had a meeting about. I pushed my 7 o'clock meeting for this. Well, I pushed it to 8. And we're talking about creating a platform. I have Zoom. Social media is not enough. But given the storyline, like we're trying to figure out we figure out the launching of what are we launching. The storyline is what's going to make everything else a domino effect or connect, like you just said about the tree. The storyline is what's going to draw people in, and when they get to know everything else that comes with it, that's all a part of. They bind into because of the storyline. And so just listen to what you're saying. I just know that I'm on the right path. And definitely I'm a sponge. And I'm always looking for ways to get better. I just said it. I wake up every day and tell myself there's room for improvement. What is that? Improvement today, and let's act on it. So one of my formulas I tell my clients, and he just, like I said, he just on point with it. From listening, he heard what I said, he felt where I'm coming from, and I give them this formula. Commitment plus consistency breeds desired results. Without commitment, without consistency, you don't get those results that you desire. So I appreciate that, my brother.
No problem, brother. No problem. Launch it yesterday, man. Launch it yesterday. You'll be right. You'll be right like rain tomorrow. Action is everything.
I'm gonna have that conversation in my next everything. Definitely.
Yeah,
I appreciate that, Joe.
Yeah, and we got the connection for you. If you want to get more information about Coach's program, he has a Branded Like a Leader program, Coaching Like a Leader program. That's phenomenal. We all went through it, changed our lives, you know. But Fabian, can you put your phone on mute for a minute? Because it's kind of a little bit of a feedback. Just put yours on mute. All right, cool. So Nadira, let's kind of, because I know Coach got a lot going on. Well, let's kind of set the stage for one of the reasons why we have a phenomenal guest, Mr. Sean Rais, on the line, who actually took some time to be with us today after a lovely meeting we had. It's kind of been a lot going on Don't know how you really want to preface it, Coach, but I'm sure a lot of individuals are listening, and it's good to have you. Good to see you. Good to have you. You know, thanks for the support. You know, so you kind of want to kind of go into it.
Certainly. So listen, you guys have been doing a phenomenal job, right? Let me give kudos and respect and all honor due, right? You've been doing a phenomenal job.
Thank you.
For that reason, right? For that reason. So when a coach has clients that execute on something, the coach is always watching. The coach is always sitting back, watching the group, watching the clients, and seeing exactly what they're doing, right? And like I said, when people start doing something, you never know if they're going to keep doing it. Mm-hmm. You never know if the consistency, like Mr. Fabian said, the consistency is going to be there and turn it into what it's supposed to be, right? So whenever you see people jump out and, say, we're going to do this and we're going to run and do this, we know that 7 out of 10 don't continue. The 2 that are left don't do a good job. They're just running, right? And then there's 1% that actually have promise, potential, and consistency. And that's what I saw here. So when I saw what I saw here, I said, okay, this is good, right? Now with the good comes the goal, right? So with the good comes the goal. So what's the goal for the good? And we know what the goal is here. The goal is to change lives, build brands, and do business, right? So change lives, build brands, and do business, right? So once I saw it, I said, okay. And I told my team, don't say anything, just sit back and watch. Let's wait. Let's let them see, because this is a sink or swim thing. This is a sink or swim world. Like you're either going to be consistent, you're going to be successful, or you're going to sink. And that's what a lot of people do. A lot of people start off the right way, but like everybody so horses jumping out of the gate, everybody looks great. Lined up on the starting line, everybody looks phenomenal. But as the race goes on, you see people start to fall back. You see people start to fall back. You see people start to get weak. You see people start to make excuses. You see people start to not show up, right? And you can tell the champions from the others, right? From the others by those whose necks begin to stretch and who stay consistent. And then a champion knows champions, right? A champion knows champions, is recognized as champion. Success, how do they say? Success begets success.
Success, yeah.
Right? Success begets success. And we know the clues. We know the earmarks because we've seen it before, because we're made of the same thing. So when I see it, I'm like, okay, that's good. Now we're at the point where we can add the brand to it. Now we're at the point where it's like, it's so good that we can add the brand to it. We can add the business to it, and we can incorporate it and expand it. So that's what the next piece is, right? It's to the point where it's like, okay, now it's being done. Let's add the business to it. Let's add the brand to it, and let's make an official, full-blown thing, right? So that's the reason why we had the meeting earlier. And hey, guys, listen, I just wanted to say that you've done a phenomenal job. And if you're watching this, don't wait to begin. Begin now. If you got an idea, run with it. If it's good, good people will see it. Good people will see it and they will recognize it for what it is. We always have this conversation and we always say the same thing. Done is better than perfect when perfect never gets done. So a lot of people wait and they're like, well, I got to do this first and I got to do this first and I want to do this first and I want to have the budget and I want to have the money and I want to have the time. Listen, you'll never have the budget. You'll never have the time unless you do it now. If you do it now and you run out the gate, then you're going to get the budget. You're going to get the money. You're going to get funding. You're going to get picked up. You're going to get seen. Someone's going to appear in your life that's going to show you how to apply the business to it, how to apply the proper branding, and make it a full-blown thing, a full-blown entity. That's how it starts. That's how it happens. That's Jay-Z started out of his trunk, right? Phenomenal leaders start on their own independent. So when we saw it and when I recognized what it was, I said, okay, now we're at a place where we can pivot, and we can professionalize. So that's the next piece. The next piece is the professionalization. The next piece is adding the business acumen, because business has an infrastructure. Business has an infrastructure, and there's more systems on the back end than most people are aware of. They say, well, I'm going to just go live. I'm going to just go live. I'm going to just go live. Okay, well, you have to go live. That's the beginning of it. But on the end of it, there's a lot of systems and a lot of processes that turn going live into a business and make a business successful. There's a lot of systems behind that, and there's a lot of processes that take place, and there's a full-blown team that makes it happen. It's never a one-man, two-man band. It doesn't work that way, right? So what I said from what I saw was, okay, you did it. You made an imprint. You left a mark. You're helping people. You're touching people. Now let's add the business to it and make it better.
Okay. That's awesome. And we appreciate you coming on. And, we appreciate the kind words. Myself and Nadira, we thought about something, we started something, we ran with it. And I think a part of that piece that nobody kind of talks about is sometimes you face adversity when you do everything that you just said. Right. And I'm sure you experienced it yourself.
Did I?
Yeah. And inside of that adversity, you start to see and understand what you're made of. And as well as, the individuals around you, because what you start to realize is like everybody is not built for adversity.
Nope.
But that's what it takes when you see it. That's what it takes to really get to the levels that you talk about. Just like Fabian said, in terms of adversity and being strong and going through things in order to be in a position to put your stake in the ground and really say, okay, this is where I belong based upon what I went through, right? Now you can't see those things, right? Because everything looks peachy and rosy when you start. But when they hit, I feel they come to make us stronger. They come to make us better, not to run away from, and not to say, oh, I wish we didn't have that adversity. Because without that piece of it, now you don't really know what you have and what you're made of, right? Nadira, what's your feeling on it?
You're still on mute.
Okay, can you hear me now?
Yep, we got you.
Okay, I totally agree. I think through when you think about what the topic is, understanding your significance has more so to do with your attitude and your perspective and how you see yourself. And I think attitude is the key word in basically knowing that is your attitude and how you view yourself. I think leadership spirit is the truth about who you are. It's your attitude, how you see who you are and the things that you go through. And I think what I've learned in this overall experience is that, you have to be able to understand that there's processes that actually, there's processes and systems that help with the building of whether it's your brand or building your business or building relationships. There's processes and systems that are specifically put in place to help you to be able to be consistent in whatever it is that you begin, because beginning, it's the start that stops most people, and it's easy to dream. It's easy to say, I want to do, and I want to become, and I want to be, and I want to do. That's the easy part. Bringing in the act, but actually acting on it is another story. And so most people stop in the midst of, that's why I said this is the start that stops people, because they think the anxiety comes when you think about all the what ifs. What if this doesn't work? What if people don't respond? What if this doesn't happen? But sometimes you have to do it anyway. You have to do it with all those feelings inside, especially if you've invested the research, the education, the systems and everything in place. At some point, you have to be able to test it. At some point, you have to bring it to pass to even see if your idea even exists, if it works. Then once it's out there and once you've been able to test it and see that, yes, this actually is something that can work, and that can benefit the people, then you see the value in that. And now you can go to step 2. What do I need to do next? And so that's pretty much how I see it when it comes to what Sean was saying and what you were saying.
Yeah, that's a good point. So overall, Carolyn, what's your assessment of everything that's going on, and how do you feel about the situation?
Well, I feel that my number one thing is you have to stay prayed up before you start or do anything. You have to stay prayed up. That's my thing. I'm a praying wife. I'm a praying mother. I'm a praying sister. I pray all the time because I know that without his guidance, I won't be able to see the things that he's showing me that will be going on. I also know that everyone cannot and will not go with you where you're trying to go. You cannot take everyone with you. And if you make that mistake of trying to take everyone with you, you're bound to fail because they're going to pull you down and hold you back because they won't move the way you want to move. And you'll start taking on what they're doing versus doing what you're supposed to be doing. Because what God gives to you is for you. He places people in your path to help you move into that direction, but he also gives you that discernment to know what is good for you and what is not for you. But if you don't stay prayed up, you will not have that discernment to understand what it looks like and what it feels like. That's it.
Ooh. Fire.
I'm the background. I stay quiet.
Welcome to my world, ladies and gentlemen.
Interesting house.
You got to have thick skin, Coach, unless you're eating alive, boy. Eating alive.
That's what makes it significant, brother.
Yeah. So those that are watching, next week we're gonna come out with a new platform. What we agreed to was, as Coach stated, is we're going to roll dinner with the coaches inside of the community. This way, everybody can benefit from it. It's not splintered. It's not divided and or divisive. We talked about particular plans, but this way, inside of the free community, we feel everybody could take advantage of it. Right? It'll still be called Dinner with the Coaches.
That's right.
Like Coach said, he's gonna put some systems behind it, and we're gonna do what our Creator has destined and ordained for us to do, which is help people. That's always the number one goal, you guys. And if we lose sight of that, then we really lose sight of everything, right? Dinner with the Coaches was created for that purpose. It was created to create a platform to help individuals just talk about different topics and or promote whatever it is, product or service that they have, but where it's non-threatening, right? And so, everybody that's watching and listening understands, we hit a crossroad, right? It wasn't a bad crossroad. It was just a crossroad, right? So instead of taking that crossroad and going our separate ways, we decided to come together, join together, and become more powerful and going in the same direction. So just kind of want to let everybody know that, hey, Dinner with the Coaches is not going nowhere, right? It's going to be bigger and better once we kind of, get some things together on the backside, roll out something new this time. Next week, still be 7:00 on Sundays. Might have a different look, a new look, but we feel that it's the best thing for all parties involved.
And I think
it's power in unity.
Yeah, and I think the key thing to remember in all of this is the business. You learn how to operate in unity as a business. We are, especially as African American people, we have a tough time operating and collaborating because of the crab mentality. I don't want you to get ahead of me. I don't want you to do this more than me. But when we understand the concept of why it's important for us to be unified and have the same mind, because you could have people unified, but not unified in just one thing and not in everything. But when the goal is to be able to be unified, to be able to change the community that you're in, is that as long as that is the major goal, and ultimately for God to get the glory out of what we do, then it's going to be powerful. It's going to be powerful. And I am learning the power of, and I've learned that I think early on, collaboration. You can't do, nobody is a one-man island or a one-man show. You can't really impact people in and of by yourself. You can change the world. You can maybe change your community with just you by yourself. But when you have a team of people that come together and say, you know what, we're gonna assist each other. We're stronger together than we are apart. And so that's what I realized. And to me, honestly, I think as a businesswoman, it's teaching me how to do business beyond what I'm used to. Because when we start out our businesses as entrepreneurs, we're used to just doing it with just us. So because it's our baby, it's our vision, and we don't want, you know how it is when you have your children, you don't want nobody to hold your baby. You don't want nobody to hold your baby. You don't want nobody. But there are times when your baby might be in that incubate stage where you might be nurturing and culturing, but there's going to be a time where you are going to have to expose that baby to the world, because it's not the vision is just not for you alone. It's for the people that you're going to impact. So to me, I'm learning as a business woman the importance of collectively involving other people in my vision and being able to focus on getting it done. Because at the end, the goal is to be impactful, right? The goal is to change lives. The goal is to make an impact. And in order to do that, you need more than just yourself to do that. No man by his own self can do everything.
One of the things that I definitely lean into all of the time is that it's not about the man, it's about the brand. It's not about the man, it's about the brand. And when a person gets out of the brand and moves into the man, they become a big-headed scientist, right? They become a big-headed scientist, and they begin working with different chemicals, right? Yeah, and they end up exploding or imploding, right? So I'm going to say a couple words, right? And for business, this is absolutely imperative for you to be successful. Systems, structure, process, right? Coaching is a future-focused, goal and action-oriented process. Emphasis on action and emphasis on process, right? And the biggest part of it is team.
Yes.
Team.
Yes.
You will not be able, because without a collective, so think about the wolf, but think about the lion. A lion can be picked off and picked at and torn apart by hyenas, which are like 1/3 or 1/4 of his size and 1/18 of his power. But when he's by himself, he can be picked off by fleas. When there's 2 of them or 3 of them, they're unconquerable. Because they have a system. They have a system.
Yeah.
They have a system. They have a process. You understand? It's like the pack of wolves. There's a line of them. They have a system. They have a process. They have a structure. And they are a team, right? So the whole goal was, from the beginning of my vision, was to build people to align, right? So sometimes when you're by yourself and you don't have people who share the same vision or have the same structure or power or skill, what you do, like the brother was talking about, right, is you take people to the gym, you build them up, get them strong, and now there's more than just one of you. Right? So when you don't have a team around you, sometimes you have to create that team. Sometimes you have to build that team. And it takes a person with a vision to say, you know what? I'm only one man. I can only do but so much. But if I take the time and I invest the money, the sweat equity, the time, the education, the experience, because these are all things that I invested in to be able to do this, right? You invest the time, you invest in the education, you invest in the experience, you invest in all of those different things in order to build the community up, in order to actually be able to move as a community in the marketplace. Now, sometimes big-headed scientists can't see that far. They come and they get one nugget, or they read one page, or they take one course, and they say, I'm good.
Good.
they say, I'm good. And they look like the horse at the running line. They look great because they just learned some stuff, and they fired up. So they bust out, boom, and they run in and they charge it, and they look good for about the first 15 laps. But then they fall behind. And then the hyenas pick them off and start nipping at them and ripping them up and tearing them to shreds, right? Business can be phenomenal. Business can be fun. Business can also be fatal.
Yes.
Business can also be fatal,
Yes.
right? You know, we read about these phenomenal individuals, and we may hear about the man, but we sometimes forget about the brand. So we hear about Jesus and we forget about the disciples. We hear about Mother Teresa and we forget about the people that was around her, right? We hear about the individual and we forget about the people, the team that made it all possible, right? So all this really is vision becoming fruition.
Yes.
That's really what it is. It's vision becoming fruition. And it's only one step of the process. There's so many more things that we're going to grow and conquer and grow into and overcome, because there is more than one. Right? There is more than one, and it has to be in unison. It has to be cohesive, right? Because a house divided against itself cannot what?
Stand.
That's right. A house divided against itself cannot stand. So we as a people sometimes have ego problems with coming together and getting to the table, right? And putting everything on the table. We don't have that level of maturity sometimes as a people and in business. As a people, we don't have the maturity. Then when we say, okay, as a man, I have the maturity to do business, but then as in business, we don't have the maturity to say, let's figure this out, work it out, put the water under the bridge, be stand-up individuals, and move on the big goal, right? The we goal as opposed to the me goal.
Exactly.
We demonstrated that today, Coach.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
And I might add too, it's never an easy process because people think coming together is easy. It's not, because when you're dealing with different personalities, when you're dealing with different perspectives, it takes a certain amount of humility and really looking at the overall picture. Because if you're used to being an entrepreneur that is servicing, doing everything on your own, you have to train yourself and you have to condition yourself to learn how to work with other people. You have to condition yourself. You have to make a decision to do that. And it's not always an easy decision when you're a solopreneur. So in order to be a part of a community initiative, you have to go from solopreneur to going into a business mindset, because business now services the community. Entrepreneur, solopreneur services for their, it's mainly for them. But when you actually go and move into a business, now you're thinking holistically. Now you're thinking not just for me and where I am. I'm thinking futuristic. I'm thinking community. I'm thinking, different cities, different states, different countries, different. So I just want to add that perspective. It's not all easy. So it definitely takes growth. You have to grow into that mindset, because when the average person is starting a business, they're not thinking of
May I jump in there real quick?
Yes, sir.
Go ahead, Fabian. Go ahead, Fabian.
I always tell myself that take away self and let God speak through me. Just before any time I present myself in any capacity. I think what I've learned in the process of building the brand is that, one, this thing that I yearn for is greater than me.
Yes, right.
So when I present it to a team member or someone I want on board, they already understand the vision that God gave me is not about me. This is about You want to call it a community, you want to call it the masses. It's about touching and reaching and building up so many different people so that we can be that powerful entity
Mhm.
that we're supposed to be. And the only way to get that done is we have to get out of our own way
Mhm.
and and take heed to the instructions, the guidance. If someone comes on board, you should want someone around you that you can learn something from. Because if you sit in the chair and you think that you're gonna spread it all out to everybody and you don't get nothing back, you
Right.
can't grow. Everybody else grows, but you sit still.
Mhm.
Even when I speak to the masses, I'm learning at the same time. There's a message for me too.
Mhm.
And I take myself out of it and I let God speak through me. And I get what my piece out of it. And I take that, I mold it, and now I spread it to my team. This is what happened today. This is what he showed me. It's bigger than me. It's greater than us. And as long as we keep that aspect or that
Mhm.
perspective that is greater than us, we'll always be able to grow. We'll never get to the point where it's just we hit a ceiling. There is no ceiling.
Mhm.
God is infinite. So if there's no ceiling, we can continue to learn and we
Mhm.
can continue to grow community and persistence. I hear it in y'all speech and I get it. This is what I've been doing. Buddy, you can't do it by yourself. There ain't no way. Nobody, no one can do it alone. And you need that team. But we all have to make sure that we keep that in perspective that it is greater than us.
Amen.
And
Great.
we'll stay humble and hungry that way.
Great point. Yeah, great point. Put yours on mute, Fabian. Great point. One.
I got to jump off and jump into this next meeting, but I
Okay.
wanted to share that with all right.
Thank you,
Appreciate you.
brother. Greatly
Thank you
appreciate it.
for
Yeah.
joining us. And don't forget,
Thank
everybody,
y'all
to
for having me. I truly
Yes,
Yeah,
appreciate
we
it.
sir.
definitely support them.
make sure you get Fabian's book. It's You Just Don't Wake Up Strong. You can get it on Amazon, or you can go to fabianthorn.com and actually get his book also. This book will definitely change your life. Story of triumph, faith. It's amazing. So make sure you guys go to his website and pick up his book, fabianthorn.com. Thanks for joining us, Fabian.
Thank y'all for having me. I appreciate it.
Great job.
Yes,
No
sir.
problem.
So, Coach, one last piece before we close, right?
Yes,
that I just want you to speak to, because obviously the community is starting to wake up. Everybody's starting to get on board. There was and my partner over there, Nadira, is kind of modest. There was an email that went out. We don't know who all received the particular email, but we pretty much understand the contents of the email. I just would like for you to speak to that, to kind of clear the air, and my
yes.
partner's name based upon the email that was sent out, so everybody that's listening can make sure that we're getting the same message from one source.
Okay, so there should have been another email that went out right after that. After the meeting that we had today, there should have
Oh,
been
okay.
another
I
meeting that
haven't
went out.
checked.
Yeah, I'm sure my team is already on it, right? I'm sure my team is already on it, guys. Listen, water finds its level. Water finds its level. Balance and equilibrium is everything, right? And phenomenal minds can disagree. Can disagree. It's normal. This is business. This is business, and everybody takes business seriously, and they should. And it's a growth experience for everyone involved. Everyone involved, right? It's a growth experience. But when we put the right person at the center, right? When we put the right person at the center, which is nobody on the call. Nobody on the call is the right person in the center. That's all I'm going to say, because everybody has a different faith. So I'm not going to say that. What I am going to say is when you put the right person in the center, it humbles you. And you have to stand in alignment, right? You have to stand in alignment. And nobody came here to become stronger and then separate, because unity is stronger than separation. There are entities and there are things that we need to separate from, but it's never each other as a people.
Okay.
Let me say that. So when you keep the first things first, everything else should balance itself out. And if not, then you have to get your priorities in order. right? But everybody on the call was able to put the right person in the center, keep the first things first, and then align in a common direction.
Okay.
And that's leadership. That's leadership. That's also business. That's leadership and that's business. That's humility. That's faith. And that's a future focus. Something bigger than ego, right? So if you did receive an email, that was a period, right? And there's another email that came after that. Make sure you get that and look at that, right? Because let me make the official statement. Everybody on this call is brand, right? Everybody on this call is brand and stays brand, right? And this call is going to be used for the purpose that it was created in, so that everybody can benefit, mainly the people, mainly you, right? So there will be some changes. There will be some business put in it, some systems put around it, some infrastructure added to it, and it will be better than ever, and it will be branded like a leader. That's what we do here. Leadership, branding, and executive coaching. Right. I just want to say thank you, because honestly, we wouldn't have this experience if these two phenomenal individuals didn't take the action. It's never about the what. It's never about the what. It's always the how. And as people, our how can always become better and streamlined, myself included, right? I throw myself under the bus first. Myself included, I throw myself under the bus first. Right. But that's OK, because this is what we do. This is how we grow. Right. And without pain, there's no growth. Family, culture, nation, unity. There's going to be disagreements. There's going to be little things that we have to get over and become humble and learn about each other in order to go to the next level. But the goal is always to go to the next level and rise above. So delegate and elevate. Always delegate and elevate. Never stay under, never stay hit, never stay struck. We bob, we weave, we get better. And we stay formidable and we stay team so that everybody can win. That's the goal. That's the goal. Now, see, there are some other people, there are some other entities, there are some other populations and demographics that would love to see things fall apart and people start infighting and backbiting and calling names and all of that nonsense. But there's no children here, right? There's no children here. Everybody here is mature. Everybody here has children. We're grown, right? And this is how we handle business in 2021. So don't get it twisted. This is how we handle business as a people in 2021. Yes, we're not the only ones who can come to an agreement and make things happen for the betterment of every people involved.
And I want to say I appreciate that, because I think learning how to deal with conflict resolution is a part of maturity. And I think for me, it was a lesson for me. But not only that, it taught me how to, because I think what happens is when you're used to being a solopreneur or an entrepreneur, you think differently.
Yes, ma'am.
So for me, learning how to deal with conflict, because it's always easy to run, when you're frustrated or you're angry or you're discouraged, but learning how to stand and go through the process is an act of maturity and is a form of leadership. And so I think I'm glad for this experience, because we showed the world that are in business how to deal with conflict resolution, and to let them know that you can get to a point where you can actually resolve if you are willing and you possess the humility to be able to do that. So I think for us, it's a perfect example, of being able to show how to work together and how to work through. It means a lot, because especially like I said, in our community as African American, it's easy to go to opposite way, to talk negative, tear down. But when we realize and we come to the point and we say, you know what, there is a point of resolution that we can get to as an adult. That to me is phenomenal. It's powerful, and it says more about character than it does anything else.
Yes, and that's awesome, man. I just kind of want to put that out there, because if you look at all of the comments, we don't even realize how many people were really watching us. when we got together, like that wasn't even in the equation, but we were men and women enough to lay down our own agendas. Right now, that doesn't come with opposition or resistance, right? Because everybody can get emotional. It's okay, but when we lay down our own individual agendas and then pick up somebody else's agenda, we understand them differently. Because now we see the world differently, and we see the world not only from our perspective, we see it from their perspective. And if you watch our community, I think our community has learned something. That to me it's a residual from that, right? Like, wow, they actually got to an amicable resolution that we can keep moving forward because it creates tension. Like nobody knows where to go, who to call. Should I call them? Should I say something? Can I talk? We demonstrated something, you guys, and I applaud everybody for hanging in there. And you guys know I got a little emotional because it meant that much to me. Not even realizing how much it meant to the rest of the community, but it meant that much to me because I know we all have greatness in us. We demonstrated something great, and we don't need to let that fall by the wayside because of egos and or misunderstanding.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. I'd like to wrap it up with a story. I gave a story, an analogy in the 7 prerequisites to success about refinement. Gold. Fire is what purges the dross and the dirt and purifies the gold. Fire is what does it. So when you hear Nadira use the word conflict, it's not a bad thing. It's a purifier, right? It's a purifier. Fire, heat, friction is not a bad thing. It's a purifier. It purifies. You can't have your gold neck, your gold chains, your earrings. You can't have your wedding rings without fire. It takes fire to purify. What it does is it takes away all of the dross and the impurities. When we're speaking about people, that dross and those impurities are things like ego, super confidence levels, ego, super conscious, right? The I impact, the I perspective, as opposed to the we perspective, the me perspective, right? Self-interest, right? All of these things are impurities and dross, and realistically, they're not from us or of us. All that stuff was taught to us so that we don't work together, so that we can never really become or have any power because we were taught this. You got to remember, everything is about culture, guys. Culture and people and relationships that produce revenue. CPR, culture, people, and relationships that produce revenue. And you know what CPR is? It actually gives life to the organism. That fire is a good thing. Don't run from it, run to it. Everybody here as an entrepreneur, as a phenomenal leader, CEO, mother, father, husband, spouse, wife, brother, sister, aunt, you're going to have fire. You're going to have friction moments. It's not going to be easy to raise men, women, right? It's not going to be easy to stay married. Like it's a fight sometimes. You have to fight for what's right. And that means walking into the fire, not running from it. Because when you run from it, you do something that says something about your character. It says something about your character. When you run to it, think of first responders. They hear the noise, they see the fire, they run into it, they don't run from it. There's something said about the people that run from it, and there's something opposite said about the people that run to it. The one that run to it, they're lifesavers, they're givers, they're contributors, they're responders. The people that run from it, they're reactors. They might just be actors, right? When things get tough, they can't stand. And this is going to be for every leader and every builder of a business. You're going to have teams. You're going to have to deal with people. People make businesses. A business is not an idea.
Right.
A business is people. You take the people out of the building, it's just a building. It's not a business. You You take the people out of any business, it's no longer a business, it's just a building. When you put the people inside of the business, when you put the people in the building, now it becomes a business. That means you're going to have instances where you have to mitigate conflict. It takes adults to do that.
Yes, sir.
It takes maturity to do that. It's not checkers. This is chess.
It's chess.
Let's grow. Let's grow. Everybody here is grown. I hope everybody paying attention has grown.
So thank you guys. Any final words before we actually end? I just want to add to this before we actually end and give final thoughts that if you are watching us here on Dinner with the Coaches and you are a woman, and I say woman in particularly because a lot of our audience is women, it is okay to verbalize and put a voice to your perspective. It doesn't mean, and I think what happens is as women being in an industry like coaching where it's male dominated, sometimes you feel like you lose your voice in being able to communicate your perspective. So I want you to take what you've learned here and understand the importance of you can still be yourself and voice your opinion in a safe environment where you have people that are like-minded and have the same goal. You're in the same, that have the same goal as you do. And Sean, I'm sure we'll get more into this when we talk about speaking like a leader, is you have a voice, and your voice, don't silence your voice because you fear conflict. Don't run and hide because you fear conflict. We are in an age where women are bosses. We are owning businesses. We're running coaching businesses. We're running brick and mortar businesses. We are operating at full speed. And we have to learn from other people. In order for us to get to where we want to be, you have to watch people that are already there. So I just wanted to add that in. Don't lose your voice. Don't run, like Sean said, away from conflict. Embrace it, because in conflict, it produces change in perspective. And I always say you're in control of two things, your response and you're in control of your perspective.
Let's grow.
Let's grow.
Let's grow.
Hey, I did that.
I'm here next week. So, same time, same place, guys. Get ready because it's going to be absolutely phenomenal. That is a guarantee.
Absolutely. Amen. Thanks for joining, guys. We'll see you on the inside.
Crash land in the palm of my hand. Bad little flex wanna play by the coast. Carry the torch, I'm way up, it's litty wherever we float. I came from the